My God, I cannot wait to hear what Keegs is cooking up with that.
I still can't get over how good that tune is.
Oh, look,
It's very good.
Bit of Mozart involved. One of the all-time classics, really. And one of the all-time great composers, Keegs, has said he's going to rustle something up and play it at Bar1, and I can't wait for that to happen. So, yeah, mate, massive week again. Welcome back to episode 3, listening to the Sunday Debrief. And, Jesus, plenty to get through this week, isn't
So much, as per usual. Ep 3, it's been going well so far.
It has been. Look, the feedback has been fantastic. Did you say you were looking at some of the Spotify?
Oh, yeah. Thought I'd give a bit of a shout out to all the people who have rated us on Spotify, all 5-star reviews, which you love so much. When I put that out, we had 11 reviews, and now we got over 20. So the response has been absolutely unreal, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very much.
Very positive, but plenty of constructive criticism as well.
As always, and we'll take it on.
It's all a learning curve, isn't it? So it's only going to get better.
Yeah, that's right.
This week, as always, look, we've had some comments, we've had some stories, we've had some questions, we've had some couple of voice messages. No videos this week, a little bit disappointing.
A little bit disappointing. Step it up, guys. But, it's just one of those weeks. Can only do what you've been given. So
absolutely. And, of course, we finish off with the quickfire questions on Instagram.
They're always a hit.
They are always a hit. Obviously, we don't read them until, when we do it in about an hour. But having a quick look to see how many there are, looks like people have already pulled through on that. So looking forward to that. But, mate, a bit of an elephant in the room. We had a massive announcement this week.
Huge.
So put on the Instagram story, look, big announcement coming up. Take a guess what it could be. And the audience had a few ideas of what this could be. I responded to a few of them. So on the story, a couple people were suggesting that I'm pregnant, which
it's a close second.
Close second, yeah. So look, I'll announce that a little bit later, but I don't want to jump the gun on that. Someone reckoned I had chlamydia. Someone else said our STD check tested negative, but I said wrong answers only, and he said it was a negative test, and that's not a wrong guess. So now there were a few that involved you, and I just want to get your responses to these.
Yeah.
Yubsy suggested that it's a Regis penis enlargement.
Reduction, actually. I thought I'd keep that on the low a little bit, but reduction.
Yeah. Overs or unders, 7.5 inches.
Definitely under.
Unders, okay. Yeah. Where do you go for that? Oh, actually, I need the enlargement. Where do you go for the enlargement?
I think same place. They just, do a bit of a different procedure. I'm not willing to, I got my doc on that.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. I'm just asking for a mate. Ryan Hammond says Regan is attending lessons for people who struggle to read.
That's really funny. Because, this is going to keep getting brought up, and I'm honestly not a fan, to be quite honest. It's starting to get to me a little bit. Okay. Like, I'm starting to have a few sleepless nights, and got a bit more to talk about in returns to not me speaking, but in terms of some false information that has been given out.
Sure. Look, you articulated that really well, so well done, mate.
Thanks. Yeah, try to get through it.
So that was about as much as people guessed, but all of those answers were wrong. The correct answer is a partnership, a collaboration.
With the one and only.
Well, your favourite nightclub. Bar1 nightclub.
That's the one. So
it's your favourite nightclub and your favourite podcast, hopefully.
They've worded it very well. They have.
Yeah. The best nightclub times the best new podcast are collaborating on a few things, mate.
It's huge. There's endless possibilities of where this can go.
There's endless possibilities. So we'll go through a little bit of what to expect here because there's some exciting things happening.
Yeah. We won't leave people hanging on the edge. We'll give them a bit of an update.
Give you a little bit of an insight. Yeah. So first thing, Bar1 stories competition. Send in your best Bar1 stories. They might have come from this weekend. They might have come from 10 years ago. And the best stories from each episode, we will get you a $50 bar card. So Bar1 have promised you will win $50 bar card if you send in your best Bar1 story to us.
How good's that? You're literally sending something in for free and you could get $50 out of it.
There's literally nothing to lose.
There's nothing to lose at all. Nothing to lose at all. And you can still, I'm sure, remain, or can you remain anonymous?
I think you can on the potty, but we'll have to know who you are to make sure that we can send you your...
That's exactly right.
Your $50 bar card.
But still nothing to lose, though.
Absolutely nothing to lose. So get onto that. That'll start from next episode. So a couple people have already sent in their Bar1 entries.
Yeah, and that's fine. We'll take note of those
absolutely.
still.
So we'll delay them. We won't read them out this week, but we will pass them on to when we start this off next ep. There's a few more things to come as well. So there may be a few promotional nights at Bar1 where you can get cheap drinks if you show that you're followed to the podcast.
Just make sure to chuck us a follow on Instagram.
Yep. That's
if you haven't already.
Well, yeah. Hopefully you are already. So just show the bar, follow the Sunday Debrief, and you might get some cheaper drinks. So we're working on that one. Even more excitingly, Bar1 have some big names coming up, some big acts. Names. And we might be able to provide a little bit of behind-the-scenes content for you with those said big acts. Not even just big singing acts. There might be some footy players on the go. Look, I don't know how much we can exposed to the public just yet. That's not our place to do so, but we can just say that there's plenty to be excited about in that part.
Whatever realm you're most excited to be in, there's a lot going on. There's something for everyone going on at Bar1.
Absolutely, there is. So look, we might be able to provide you a little bit of behind the scenes interviews, content. That's something we're working on, but there's just plenty going to happen in the near future. Bar1 Nightclub times Sunday Debrief podcast. And look, I hope you're all pumped for it because I know that we are.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the great collabs.
One of the all-time great collabs.
One of the all-time great collabs. It's going to go for centuries.
Absolutely. So, look, big shout out to Jaden and Malcolm from Bar1 who are really invested in this project. Very keen to work closely with them. And, yeah, we'll have plenty more updates coming soon for that. But in the meantime, let's move on to episode 3 of the Sunday Debrief. Mate, you had another big weekend on the cricket field. Take us through it.
Oh, a huge weekend. Still don't know why I continue to rock up and play this sport. Well, saying before, it's probably one of the greatest drugs ever made. Cricket. You just you always find a way to keep going back, and it's just addictive. And you could get out for 5 ducks in a row, and you could make a half decent 15 and do it, and you're back and ready to go for the next week. So. Yeah, cricket was interesting on the weekend, to say the least. Did I make any runs? No. Did I take any wickets? No. Was it a complete waste of time? No. I mean, what more can you ask for to spend your whole weekend playing the great game of cricket? Was the podcast mentioned? Yes, it was.
Out in the field?
Out in the field. Well, I rock up, got a couple of mates who play for Whitford, sort of... I don't know if they're like taking the piss or not. That's the thing. They're like, "Oh, Ruggs, is this going on the podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, mate." I don't know.
There's not much more you can say.
I don't know like what. I don't know if they're taking the piss out of me or if they actually want some genuine like cricket content or not, because yeah, it wasn't good. And it started off. One thing I want to say: if anyone has any advice on how to keep comments out of your head and have a few. Get some good night, 8 hours of sleep a night. Go out to bat. Top grade cricket, batting 8. Get out there, and the skipper of the other team goes, "Oh, boys, Ruggs is coming out at 8. Team must be in absolute strife. There must be nothing after him." I'm like, all right. Far out. I haven't even faced the ball yet. I did snick off about 5 balls later, so he was correct. But I mean, there's just no need, I'm not going to say it hasn't got to me, but yeah, I'm trying to make my feelings not get hurt a little bit because, all this stuff. And then there's more to go on at the rest of the episode. There's more to be said, and I'm just honestly sick of it because people are just out to get me, and I'm just sick of it, to be quite honest. I've had enough.
Yeah, look, whenever you put yourself in the public realm, you do expose yourself to scrutiny, but look, they're just taking the piss at this point. It's unacceptable and it has no place in society.
No, not even. I'm trying to relax, play a game of cricket with my mates. Have a singular brewski after because got to drive, got to be safe on the roads, and I just don't want to be thinking about other things. I just want to be focused on the great game, and it's just come into a point where it's just taken over my life really, and that's all I think about, and I'm scared to go out in the public now. I'm scared what people think of me. I'm scared what people say behind my back. But I'm just exposing myself here. But if you want to keep doing it, I mean, it's up to them at this point. Be the bigger person here, guys. Come on.
So yeah, look, no place in society. But in the meantime, to make yourself feel better, let's have a talk about the Chile national women's cricket team. Just to make
Yeah, so first off, I didn't know they had a team, but I saw a post come up on Seven Cricket's Facebook, and I saw they got all bowled out for 22. And I was like, oh, that's not, that's no strikers like 15 in the BBL, is it? 22. Why Seven Cricket?
It's more runs than I've made in my career.
Yeah. I know I played 4 games on the weekend, haven't even scored over 22 in total, so not ideal. But then you have a look a bit more of the scorecard and you see there was 21 extras bowled. So there was 1 run made. The highest score was 1 in all the 11 batsmen. And on top of that, they were playing Argentina, who, again, I didn't know had a cricket team.
Yeah. And when you think about, okay, a 22, well, look, what did the other team score? Maybe the pitch was an absolute landmine. You never know.
T20, like, if you're going at 10 and over, that's 200. Argentina made 400. That's really, going at 20 and over.
Yeah. Look, you can't really blame that on the pitch, can you?
No, you can't.
I mean, look, Argentina batted first, did they?
I saw they played 3 matches,
they must have done,
and they batted first. They won the toss and batted every single time. Made 400 in basically every game and just rolled them for under 50 in every single game.
Look, yeah, because you never know. Maybe it was really flat early and the pitch broke up for the second innings.
You never know.
That is the only thing that decided the game. But 400 runs as opposed to 22, where only one of them came off the bat.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a couple, 000 calls from murder. Yeah, because that is just absolutely atrocious stuff going on there.
It's not ideal.
No.
But
that's enough cricket talk, so we will leave it at that. But if you want any more cricket, like the boys were saying on the weekend, you're going to do your runs predictor, like probably not anymore, because after the first one, everyone's saying I'm going to get a duck. So
Well, mate, when you say that the hint to winning is lowest score wins, you can't. You have to understand.
I'm digging myself a hole a little bit, but come on, guys, I can get off the mark at least sometimes, maybe.
Pull your head into it. Let's have a bit of positivity.
Yeah, positivity, really, a bit of positivity. Go, Rugsy, mate, you can fucking do it next game. Yeah. You're gonna make a ton. Yeah, man, it's a bit too far, but
you score a run.
You'll score a run. You got this, mate.
Now this is making more sense as to why when I sent you a message on Saturday night saying come to Leaderville, and you said, "Oh, look, next week, mate." And, I was a bit disappointed about that at the time. But hearing some of the stuff you've gone through on Saturday night, it makes sense.
I was not in a place. And should we bring this up now about?
Well, perhaps, yes. No, you know what? This is a good time to bring this up.
I think it is a good time.
Now you've explained some justification as to why you might not have wanted to go out on Saturday night. But it appears that an audience member has gone further than the truth on this situation.
Yep. So we're getting one of the audience questions done and out the way now.
Yep. So
we're getting all the cricket talk out the way. So if you want to skip this part, go ahead.
Yeah. But look, I'm going to read this to you.
Yeah, read it to me.
We're going to need this your response. Chris Roberts has said, on the weekend, one of my mates went out for dinner instead of meeting David Boone, one of the all-time great Australian cricket legends.
Legend. Absolute legend.
What are your thoughts on this? I would love to hear your thoughts on this, mate.
Thoughts on this? Well, I saw this one come in on the old notifications, and I was wondering who could that be? But then it sort of, ruffled some feathers in my mind, and thought there was a certain person who was messaging me non-stop all that Saturday night. First off, I did not attend the cricket club after the game because I'm heading to Bali in a couple of weeks, and I do not want to be doing uni work while I'm on Bali. So I want to get all this done, have a week before just to, chillax, and then off I go to Bali. So I did not leave my room in my house. So I was not anywhere except for the nice suburb of Ocean Reef.
For productive purposes as well.
Yes, exactly. I'm bettering myself, Was it a bit selfish? Yes, but I'm bettering myself, bettering my life, my decisions.
So for someone to come out and suggest you went to dinner... This is what
I'm saying.
How do you feel about that?
More comments about my decisions that I want to make. I don't need this scrutiny telling me what is wrong and what is right. Okay? So first off, Chris, I'm not mad at Chris. I'm not mad at him at all for sending in this message. I'm not shooting the messenger. I'm shooting the person who told him the misinformation. So this guy has been, I'm not saying his name, he's been messaging me all night. Rugsy, why aren't you here, mate? David Boone's here, blah, 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 blah. I told him my situation, kept messaging me, and I know he's had probably two single fins. And he's getting a bit rowdy, and he's just saying whatever comes out of his mouth. And he has definitely told my man Chris Roberts that I have gone out for dinner instead of meeting David Boone. And Chris has gone, oh, bloody hell. Got to write that into the podcast and see what he has to say, which is, okay, fair enough. But this misinformation, Josh Brown, Yubsy, I'm mentioning you because it's time to call you out, Yubsy. This misinformation you are spreading about me and everyone else is just uncalled for. I mean, come straight to me. I told you what I was doing. I sent you photo evidence and proof. We don't need to be spreading these lies and rumours around, especially when I've had a tough weekend, as it is after a hard-fought cricket game where I haven't made over one. It's not ideal. Okay, so we need to think about our actions here and take a bit of a responsible route and think about other people's feelings in these situations. That's all I have to say.
Thanks for that, mate.
You're welcome.
Said from the heart,
yeah.
And you needed to get that out. So, yeah, look, I appreciate that, and I hope next weekend is better for you. And I hope that maybe I'll see you in Leederville next week. In fact, I'm probably glad you didn't come. If anyone saw me in Leederville on Saturday night, then it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
It was someone else.
It was someone else who, yeah. I got to, it's bad when you wake up and I send my snaps out to my mates and they respond with, oh no, he's alive. Are you okay? Mate, someone described me as inconsolable. And
what does that even mean?
I don't even know. I normally think of that as, I wasn't sad, I wasn't upset. But he just said apparently I was just unresponsive in terms of just, just enjoying myself, but not really answering questions that people were actually asking me, just kind of looking a little bit lost at times. But that's okay.
That's okay. You have days like that.
Yeah. And apparently, according to my mates, my snap map suggested I was a bit lost as well.
I did say that because I've gone. I needed you for a bit of help on a uni assignment and to get some quotes, facts, and figures and whatnot. And I've gone. I know you went out the night before. I was like, oh, I'll give him a bit of time. It's a midday now. I'm having my lunch. I was like, oh, I'll give Fitzy a message. He hasn't messaged me all morning. A bit strange. And I see, it's like last seen 12 hours ago. I was like, oh, still isn't up. Fair enough, having a bit of a sleep. And I see where he is. He's in the middle of the Swan River. I don't know what he's doing. Is he having a snorkel? Is he, has he been eaten by a shark? Has he made one with the mermaids? I don't know. But that's where he was on Snap Maps. And that's where he was last seen. So might need a bit of, I don't know how that's happened.
Oh, look. Saturday was a warm day. 35 odd. You would know you were on the cricket field.
Yeah.
And you know how much I love the beach. I love jumping in, and so I just thought it was a good time to go for a swim.
Okay. At what time was that?
Well, you would have seen me at midday on Snap Maps. I wasn't active for 12 hours. So let's backtrack that. Probably about 1 a.m. on Sunday morning. Just thought I'd go for a swim in the Swan River. The truth is I didn't go on Snapchat from the time from driving over the causeway. And then my phone was on just a few percentages. So
I mean, that's fair. Because you don't want to, open your phone, especially on open someone's message on Snapchat and then your phone dies and it's so
I was on a few percentages, needed to save them. So chucked my last few messages out and then didn't go on Snapchat for another 12 or so hours. And Snap Maps, I was going over the causeway, but they chucked me in the middle of the Swan River. I wasn't in the middle of the Swan River.
Playing games, Snap Maps, playing absolute mind games.
True. In the meantime, also on the weekend, there was a referendum. Did you know?
Yeah. Did you cast your vote?
I did, mate. It was a very easy vote, actually.
Yeah.
So, as you all know, the question was a proposed law to recognise the best podcast in Australia by enshrining the Sunday Debrief in the Constitution.
And this was the only vote that was going around.
As far as I'm aware.
Weekend. That's the only one that's been going around. And if you didn't vote in this, you'll be expecting a $50 fine in the mail very shortly.
You would, yeah, absolutely. And it was an easy vote as well. And the result was unanimous.
Oh, good.
So the national vote, no at 11% with 8 votes. Yes at 89% with 66 votes.
66 votes. Wow.
So
that's an audience. That's nearly 80 votes total.
89% of you agree to enshrining Sunday Debrief in the Constitution. Great, cool. 11% of you are bigots, and you need to assess your life values, and that's okay. We'll work with you on that.
I mean, the decision's been made, so I mean, their fault now. They can choose what they want to, how they want to view that, but we're not going to change our morals, are we?
And now that we are involved in Parliament, as we should be, apparently, the Sunday Debrief is now in the Constitution. It means we can address issues like inflation. And during the week, I came across a problem with inflation. So I actually ran into the great Ryan Hammond, who wishes to fly under the radar this week, which is fair. So no
surprised he was out of the house. Very much surprised.
Especially in a public area like Joondalup Spudshed. To be fair, it was about midnight. I just finished a gym session, ran into the great man, and we agreed on an absolute critical issue in the Australian community. We all know about inflation, cost of living. Fuel is just unbelievable. Housing, outrageous. But what's just unforgivable is that Spudshed have upped the price of Rockaby Farms protein shakes from $2.99 to $3.20. And that's just
what's the need? What is the need for that? Like, come on, seriously. Like, that's a whole 21 cents. That could go along. That is a lot in this day and age. And, you know, so, like, what's going up is milk. What's the reason for this, you know, inflation? Is the milk prices going up? Is the flavouring prices going up? Is the packaging going up?
You know what's going up? Greed. Human greed. And it's just unacceptable, really. So, yeah, pull your head in, Spudshed.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just not okay.
Or, like, just the minimum someone can be paid per hour just needs to be $40 for a job. That's just how it needs to be these days.
I think you're right.
And, you know, when you're getting your 3-hour shifts, you know, you're making like your $120. You're not making your $60 from your 3-hour shifts, are you?
You're not. You're really not. So if we're going to be able to afford some Rockaby Farm... Sorry, if we're going to be able to afford some Rockaby Farm protein shakes...
Is there an amphibian in the room?
Anyway, look, moving swiftly on, we better speed this up because this show is about the audience, not about us. But I do need one more piece of advice from you from my Saturday night.
Okay.
As I say, I was inconsolable apparently, and it meant that I started chucking some messages around. And so look, some of them are controversial. Not controversial, just I just need your advice on if they would work. And you know, you're a taken man, so you know what you're doing. So I just want to know why Jen from Tinder didn't reply to this message. Are you a microwave? Because
how many M's were there?
A good 3 lines.
You have to show a screenshot on that because the amount of M's that are in there is just it's just so many, and they probably they either needed to be a lot less or a lot more.
Well, I just don't understand why she didn't answer. This one did get an answer.
Okay.
Chantel, are you a beaver? Because damn. And she said, you're damn right.
That's a good response.
My mates got involved. My mate said he had a great Spanish line to deliver to Lucy here. It says, yo quiero coma de culo. Do you know what that translates to?
No.
See, I was hoping it would be something along the lines of, I love your personality. Maybe let's grab a coffee. No, it directly translates to, I want to eat your ass.
Oh,
and Lucy responded with, oh, full stop. So,
I mean, straight to the point. I mean, you didn't know maybe you've gone in blind and just sent it without knowing the translation.
So, yeah, disappointed there that we didn't get a more intricate response from Lucy.
I don't know what else she could have said, though.
The last one here, another mate got involved. He said, oh, look, I've got a good one. He was meant to say to Taryn, look, let's get this straight. I want you you want me. He accidentally said he got the I and the you mixed up. So now it says, look, let's get this straight. I want you, I want me. Doesn't have the same ring to it. So we tried to make up for it. We wanted to send a voice message to her explaining why this just happened, but there wasn't a voice message option. So I've tried to type that out, and in my state, I didn't get it right. So I said, voice messenger, I wish you can send voice a kilo. Doesn't make much sense. So I tried to apologize by saying, sorry, Taryn, and instead just said, saw Taryn, spelled S-O-R-E. So can you explain to me why Taryn didn't respond?
I can't explain why.
No.
I don't think there's a reason.
There's no excuse for not getting a response.
I think that was just a genuine, just you being yourself.
I was just trying to fit myself. But look, I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and suggest that Taryn is not going to be my future wife.
You never know.
That's okay.
Could cross paths in a future circumstance.
Very last one before we move on to what we're here for, which is the audience. We got tagged in something on the last weekend, and I'm not too happy about it.
Yeah.
Abby White, friend of the show.
Tag your personal or the account?
She tagged my personal, so maybe this is just directed at me. It's just disgraceful. You can't be just pointing people out like this. Yes. Great human, clearly a shit supporter of the podcast. Tagged me in a post on Instagram. It was a video of like ancient Rome, very impressive buildings. And the caption says, men don't be building shit like this anymore. All they do is lie and make podcasts.
Yeah, wow. Just, again, another uncalled for comment.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. What happened to that?
I know. I think that should be our motto. Sorry, not model.
But you know what? As we said, any publicity is good publicity. So if she's watching the podcast, then thanks for the views.
Yeah, we'll take the view. So thanks. We'll keep. We'll keep making them for as long as we're capable of. So yeah, any publicity is good publicity. But again, these comments are. I mean, that one's directed at you, so you can take that how you wish. But I mean, I'm on the edge at the moment.
Look, it's getting people to take note of the potty. So look. Whether it's negative or not. She keeps watching, that's fine. Alrighty, on to the YouTube comments.
Here we go.
We had a couple. Am I on reading duties today, mate?
Yes. Yeah. I can do the small ones. You can do the long stories.
Okay. I'll be on reading duty. We don't want you to get any more disgraceful comments.
No.
So, your boy Yubs on YouTube. I've heard it from here already. He's actually given a very genuine response to our North versus South debate last week. He says, go south of the river if you want to enjoy the hustle and bustle of the inner city with many more people and things to do. But beware of excessive noise and declining safety and security levels. Go north of the river if you want more peace and quiet. Less busy but beautiful and serene places. And a more homely feeling with a good sense of safety and security. Wow.
I wonder where Yubsy lives.
I wonder where he works. It's realestate.com clearly. That is a very... detailed and genuine response.
It's very good. It's honestly a very good response, and Yubsy, I actually appreciate the effort you went into that. So I'm here to put our things aside, and we can be back on good terms. I mean, we were on good terms at training. I just had to get something off my chest, but yeah, very good response.
Looks like we got a less detailed response.
A less detailed response from Ryan Hammond 4828.
Thought he was keeping a low profile this week.
Yeah, at least burner accounts these days. South Perthers fear the King of Clarkson.
Well, quite possibly. But speaking of, haven't heard from him this week.
I wonder if he's all right. We should probably give him a message and ask, if he's all right, because usually he's one of the first ones in to send a story or two. So nothing this week, but I'm sure he's just having a week off.
Yeah, that's fine. He's already become a cult figure amongst the potty. A couple 100%. Of my mates who are audience members have said, we actually love what he's been sending in. Can we get a live phone call with him?
Oh, he's great. Yeah, we definitely should.
We'll sort that out with him. Hopefully he's okay. We'll hear from him soon. Now, mate, last week we had a big question sent in from an audience member. They were asking about our biggest icks.
Oh, that's right.
And we thought we'll throw it to the audience. So we threw it to them on Spotify, Instagram, and we've had a couple of responses. Now, the first one just reiterates what I said last week. Sahib says, my biggest ick is girls who always say slay.
I mean, I think it's just a word for them that they just always say. Like, I was actually thinking about this today, about like words like me or maybe other boys might say that sort of go into the same category, like well, I think is a good one. Well, I say well a lot.
Oh, gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
Gotcha, like things that just come out of your mouth. I don't know if they mean to say this word a lot, but I think it's very much not declining in popularity.
No, I think that's the problem, mate. It's so ingrained into the brains of some individuals that it really is just an instinct word at this point.
Yep. I had another one in mind, but I can't think of it at the moment. Maybe just one of those things, or there's always next year, or there's always next week. You know, those are sort of some of the phrases that are going through, that are coming out of my mouth at least.
One that relates to the word slay is when people say
slaughter.
Not what I was going for, but probably. They'll say it's giving something, like it's giving a vibe. So I could say, oh, Rugsy, what do you want for lunch today after we record? And you could say, oh, it's giving meat box. What does that even mean?
What's giving meat box vibes?
Yeah.
I know, I get what you're saying.
But look, it's harsh. Each to their own, mate. It's. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that I say and you say that people just go, shut the fuck up.
Oh, 100%.
So look, each to their own.
We most definitely need a girl to do a question like this and like a word that blokes always say, I reckon, and do a bit more of a comparison, because I can't really think of any like singular words maybe that blokes say.
True. We probably need a response to this, because obviously we've hammered on about this word a bit, but we need someone to give justification as to why they say the word.
Yeah,
because
100%.
This is for the audience, by the audience, and we can't just be hammering these arguments without allowing right to response.
Not at all. So feel free to respond to anything we say, or just keep roasting us. That's completely fine as well.
Cody on Spotify says, if she talks in a baby voice in regular conversations.
Yeah, okay.
I can't say I've experienced that, to be fair. In a baby voice.
Mate, this is, I'm guessing, coming from experience.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe just gives off the impression that maybe they're a little bit, just a little bit needy, maybe. Which, again, depending on each relationship, that might be something that someone likes. Cody might just be someone who, doesn't.
I mean, if it's like, I mean, if he's, if this is out in public and he's getting like embarrassed and whatnot, it's not ideal for him. But I think it needs to be a mutual thing that goes both ways. Sure. between partners, for sure.
This is a controversial one. Aaron on Spotify says, guy best friends. And this obviously goes both ways. So I understand it, but it's controversial. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's fair enough. I think it's fair enough. I mean, you get like this stereotypical, instead of like hanging out with your partner, you're hanging out with a girl or guy best friend and doing stuff that you should be doing with your partner with them instead. But most of the time, that's never usually like a real situation at all. I think we've moved past that a little bit.
I think so. I think people are a little bit more open-minded to it across the board. But it probably depends how those people are interacting, what their history is, how they became friends. Because I understand that you could get a little bit iffy if they're really close, and maybe 100%. They've had a history of being more than just friends.
Especially 100%. I 100% agree. Especially if it's like, I mean, if you're willing to talk about it with them and they go, and they're like, listening to you and they're like, yeah, okay, like fair enough, then that's usually a good sign that there's, nothing that's ever going to be going on. But if they're a bit, like secretive and whatnot about it, then it could be a further issue for sure.
All right. Angus on Spotify says his biggest ick is being obsessed with their star signs, because this is bullshit.
Yeah, I don't even know like what star sign I am. I wouldn't even know.
I'm going to have to agree on Angus on this one. Obviously, you have to be open to everyone's interests and beliefs. But at the end of the day, I simply do not care that the way that the stars align means you can now identify as an asparagus sign and that's why your personality is the way it is. I just still struggle to see the correlation.
Yeah, I know. It's just, and again, I think it's like what we were saying before. You see this on your internet platforms, your TikToks especially. Like I see videos where it's like they're acting out like they've just gone on like a first date, and they're like, "Oh, this has been the best date ever. Like, really nice meeting you. We literally are a perfect match." And then like the girl at the end goes, "Oh, by the way, what's your star sign?" And you go, "Oh, whatever one is,
Celery stick."
Celery stick. And then they go, "What the fuck?" Nah, I actually hate you. I hate people who are celery sticks. You are the worst person ever. This has been the worst night of my life. You have every worst quality I've ever seen. And it's like, yeah, it's just ridiculous at that point. I don't think it actually does get to that point.
No, probably not. But it sometimes, look, call me closed-minded, but I just struggle to see why it should be relevant.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind like, full on even a PowerPoint presentation on it where I can sit through and be like, yeah, try and understand. But at the moment, I don't have enough knowledge to comment. Yeah, I don't think.
As we say, open to responses there. Prove us wrong.
100%.
Maybe we need a phone call with an astrologist.
That's the one, I think.
Yeah. I can't remember which one. Astronomy and astrology. I think astronomy is actual like real stars. Astrology is the fake stars. I don't know. Maybe that's up to interpretation.
That may have pissed a couple of people off. Sorry. I don't know. Maybe or maybe not. Not sure. But
anyway, Izzy says on Spotify, this is from a female then. So she doesn't like when guys are at-home DJs. Look, fair enough. But, I mean, they got to start somewhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's like they're just, playing, by themselves, for no one. I mean, that's completely fine. But
it's a bit like us.
Yeah, literally.
We're talking in a room and no one's probably listening.
Literally talking to no one. So, I mean, yeah, you obviously got to start somewhere. You're not going to start and perform with a bunch of people. Like, it doesn't end up like that. So you got to practice and whatnot, and you got to, see what people like your stuff or whatever. So I mean, it's got to start somewhere. I don't know. This might be a specific sort of thing going on.
Depends on the context. I think that's a little bit harsh. You got to allow them to start somewhere, and if they become really successful and a famous DJ, then geez, you'd be pretty flat that you turned them down.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine Dom Dollar got turned down by a girl because he was playing his DJ stuff at home, and she said, geez, that's a bit of an ick for me.
I was about to say the same thing.
You'd be spewing now, wouldn't you? All right, Jazz, also a female, saying, when a guy wears Uggs, and specifically when his pants are stuck into the top of the Uggs. That's very specific.
It is very specific. I reckon she's seen that on it's been cold and it's been a camping trip, and some blokes just rolled out with the Uggs and the trackies tucked in. Honestly, don't mind.
I think it's okay.
Honestly, have been thinking of getting myself a pair.
Does this put you off?
No.
Great.
Not at all. But I mean, it is summer, but it's nice in the old winter, I guess, when you don't have to put shoes on and socks on and whatnot. Absolutely. It's nice to know.
I don't personally own a pair, but I don't think it's a poor decision in winter. Jazz also says when he has a footy rev up playlist, but he doesn't get a touch. Does that sound familiar, Regis?
Every single week. Yep. Sounds very familiar. Look, you got to, I mean, if it's specific to it, footy rev up, I mean, you got your tunes on the way to the game, and then you got the tunes that are played in the change rooms as well. But you got to have, each to their own, whoever has a playlist before the game. I personally, listen to specific songs on the way to a game. Yeah. Yeah.
And I do it. Funnily enough, this Jazz, who has sent this in, she also plays footy, and she made the bold claim that 7AFL says she's the best halfback in the whole of the AFL. So I think it's bold of her to be...
Does she play AFLW? Or not even?
I know, she plays for the Queen's District Football Club.
Oh, right. So 7AFL have said. All right.
Yeah. So I'd like to see her playlist. I'd like to see her playlist, and then I'd like to see her stats sheet and see if the playlist and the stats sheet correlate. So, look, right of reply here, Jasmine. Tell us how you're travelling. Jana, also footy related. When they're running to pick up a ball and they keep kicking it, but they're bent over running the whole time.
It just sounds like...
It's quite specific.
It sounds like when like the group of girls rock up to the footy game and they're just there to like watch the boys and they know nothing about footy. And they're just like, what are they doing? Why don't they just pick it up? Come on, guys. I mean,
you can't pick up the ball while standing up.
Standing up? No, you can't.
You have to bend over.
And you want to get clobbered as well. You got to get down there, grab the ball, prepare for like hip and shoulder.
Brace
get
yourself.
off, sell some candy, try and kick one from 50, kick it 20 metres to the opposition, Like, there's a lot of things going through your head, and especially when, you can't help when you got the fumbles at all.
It is what it is. It's a high pressure game.
100%.
So, she also added she doesn't like budgie smugglers. Oh, actually, that's fair, in my opinion.
I don't own a pair, but I think there's a certain person who can rock them, definitely. Like there is a guy on our footy team who rocks them, has a shower after every home game and away game. Where's the Are You Okay budgie smugglers? He rocks them very well,
and he's rocking a good message as well.
Yeah, and I rate it highly. So I think there's a certain brand and people who can wear those. Ocean Ridge also made their own budgie smugglers. So yeah, they are getting around a little bit, but again, certain demographic I think as well.
My mate, the great Smiling Metum, is actually one of the all-time great wearers of the budgie smuggler. He just pulls them off.
Oh, unreal!
It's an absolute tea.
Unreal.
So I'd love to see any girl being able to resist seeing that bloke in his budgies and resisting him. It's each their own. You're into different things, but I personally love to see him in his budgies. So, yeah. Now, mate, on to the audience questions. On to the regular segments.
The real stuff.
We're about 40 minutes in and we finally reached the audience questions, which is meant to be our first segment, really. So, look, bit of a fast track what's happening here. Mate, what's the first question here?
From Aaron B31, is it bad to have a beer at 11 a.m. on a Monday?
It's the perfect time to have a beer.
No, is it bad? No. I mean, it's just the day. And it's just the time. Well, is there any...
And it's just a beer.
And it's just a beer. Is there any, is there any rules saying, you can only drink beer past 2 o'clock in the Arvo on a certain day, on a Friday, on a Saturday? No. Of course not. You know what? Is anyone going to... Like, that could be, is it bad to have a glass of water at 11 a.m. on a Monday? Sort of, not much difference.
No, I see no difference whatsoever.
I see no difference whatsoever. Yeah.
So, no, Aaron... Easy answer to that one. No, it is not bad to have a beer at 11 a.m. on a Monday. Anonymous. One of my mates who goes by the name Big Mont is adamant he's straight, but every weekend he kisses random blokes and puts it on his Snapchat story. It has occurred multiple times. Thoughts on his sexuality? Okay. Big Mont. Look, he's allowed to do whatever he would like to do.
Oh, yes. Yep.
I would suggest that one of the key indicators of sexuality is the type of people that you kiss. Mm-hmm. And he's kissing blokes. So maybe sexuality does go that way.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. And I think by the sound of this is usually becoming a regular thing when he is under the influence of alcohol. So, yeah, that must, flick a switch in his brain and bring out his real, sober thoughts maybe.
Yeah. And I don't think, well, they do say drunk thoughts or drunk actions are just sober thoughts. And maybe this just gives him the freedom to do what he actually wants to do. And that's okay. But in terms of sexuality, I mean, you can't really say when you're sober, I like this certain set of people. So, I'm straight. I like girls. And every Saturday night, go, look, wouldn't mind some cock tonight. It just doesn't really, it does somewhat influence what his wants or needs might be. And I think he just has to be a little bit more open with himself about it.
I think he's still discovering. So there's no...
And we'll back him in with that.
100%. So I think it needs a couple more weeks or months to, become his full self, and we'll see. We'll go from there, I reckon.
Good luck, Big Mont. Another one from Yubs. Thoughts on dry brushing your teeth? So does that mean does that mean toothpaste without water or no toothpaste, just a toothbrush?
You should have heard what he said when he brought this up on Thursday night. He worded this a lot differently.
Okay.
Instead of saying thoughts on dry brushing your teeth, let me just think of what he said. He said He said, thoughts on raw dogging your toothbrush? And I was thinking there for a second, Yubsy, what do you mean raw dogging your toothbrush? That could mean a lot of different things, and it sounded very specific. But then he explained himself a little bit. So I think toothpaste still, but no water.
Toothpaste with no water. It's okay, but I think it's unnecessary. Why would you want to do that? It's just a little bit less comfortable.
Yeah, 100%. Would you choose dry brushing over water if you had the option of water? Probably not. Would you? Yeah. No. But I mean, if you didn't have water, out in the camping, there's no water around. Say, you've drunken all the water. Is it okay to dry brush? Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. Yeah, but again, if there's that option of water, I think you should take the water option for that smooth sailing.
If he means just the toothbrush without any toothpaste, then that's just silly. You might as well just use your finger.
Yeah, without any that's probably not even doing anything. Yeah.
So, look, if he still worded the question, thoughts on raw dogging, then absolutely, Yubs, go for it.
If that's what you want to do with your toothbrush, go for it. whatever end suits. You can have the bristles, you can have the stick handle.
Whichever way you want. It's all up to preference. Last one before we move on to the stories of the week. Smiley met him. I've mentioned him. He loves his budgie smugglers. He also wants to know, how many of your 8-year-old selves could you fight?
This is a good question.
Yeah, cracking question.
Great question.
One of the all-time great questions.
What were you doing as an 8-year-old?
Well, because he actually asked me this in the middle of a uni class, and I was actually trying to finish an assignment. I said, shut the fuck up. Send it into the potty, not here. I'm trying to concentrate. So it did make me think, what was I as an 8-year-old? How, I'm only, 4'11" now. I was probably 3'2" back then.
Yeah.
I'm probably only 40 kilos now. I was maybe 25 back then.
Yep.
So we're probably splitting myself in half.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many 8? But an 8-year-old isn't incompetent.
Oh, not at all.
They're not a 3-year-old. They can stand. They have limbs, unless they don't have limbs. We're very inclusive. They know what they're doing. And I think a group of them, it wouldn't take all that many to mitigate the risk of one 19-year-old.
You got to think, what were you doing? What were you doing at 8 years old? Do you reckon? Were you playing footy?
Probably.
Yeah. What type of kid were you? Nice, relaxed, funny kid, or did you, when something didn't go your way, did you have a bit of anger?
Yeah, I reckon I could heat up in the moment if I needed to.
I think most 8-year-olds can,
especially as the youngest child. I faced plenty of adversity as I was growing up, and I had to stand up for myself. So, I mean, even to this day, my sister told us to get a real job. So with siblings who don't support your life endeavours, of course you got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah,
since a young age.
100%. So to answer the question, in 8 years old, I was competing in the old Spear Dojo karate competitions.
Well, that's true. Your context, your upbringing means you're probably quite competent.
Yeah, I'll honestly be scared of him. To be quite honest, I wouldn't want to get in the ring with him now. I'd probably lose. So, I mean, I reckon there was a bit of fire about me then. A bit of something to. I don't know. I mean, right now I've got a little bit of inner rage from all these comments, but back then, nothing to lose. Going at it at Spear Dojo, I reckon could I fight 3 or 4?
That's what I said. At the time, I said 4.
Yeah.
Because I think one each are like grabbing you.
Yeah.
Grabbing your legs.
I reckon I could do 3, 4 would get me. Yeah.
And think about it. It only takes one to just give you an uppercut somewhere you don't want to, and then you're down on your haunches.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
We'll go with 3 to 4 then, Smiley. Thanks for the question, mate. On to the stories, mate. And this one, look, I know I'm on reading duty, so I can read this out to you, but then you're going to have to explain what's happened here.
I hopefully can do that, yep.
Keeg says, "Good day, gents. Got another great story for Regs to walk us through. This one, much the same as when Josh broke the laptop, happened in careers class at school. Can Regs tell us about the stolen world globe?"
Oh, right. Okay. So another story coming out of the great careers class of Belrose Secondary College. I actually saw one of my old teachers the other day at cricket training, and he said he listens sometimes. So,
oh boy.
Yeah. Spinksy, if you're listening to this is all in good, good fortune, good, well-being, nothing against the school at all. We love Belridge Secondary College and we love the cricket program and everything going on there. So, yeah, we love the school. So, yeah, if any teachers are listening, it's no stress, okay? All right, so World Globe story. This was one of the last days of Year 12 and, careers class. It's like a HAS class. You got your maps, you got your globes, you got like all the history textbooks. But in careers class, it's really, I wouldn't even know what that class. Apparently, that class doesn't even run anymore. So I think we may or may not have been like the last. I think that might have been the last straw. Our class, the upbringing from Year 10 to Year 12. I think we've just pulled all the strings of career and enterprise, and it's now vanished from the Belridge system. So me, Josh and Keys came up with a little bit of a plan. We're like, we got to take something as memorabilia. And Keys came up with the idea of possibly taking the world globe. There was a massive world map there that we're thinking of taking, but I was like, nah, if someone like looks up, that is way too obvious. So it was a good 3 meter long map. So it was massive. So we're going with taking the globe. So we're figuring out a plan or whatnot. And we've ended up getting the globe. Took it, Keegan put it in his car and whatnot. And yeah, all was good. Came back the next day. No one, teacher hadn't said anything. No one would have noticed, right? And then, but all of a sudden a story comes about just coincidence. Another class in the younger years, I think probably year 8 or 9, had the same idea and ended up lighting the globe on fire in the change rooms, and it blew up and smoke was everywhere and that. So that happened. So same sort of globe. And yeah, so one of the younger years had the exact same, sort of proposition, but we had no intention of, blowing up the globe. I think Keegs just put it in his room as just a bit of memorabilia. So that sort of got around, and then they sort of found out which class the globe was missing from. And, our teachers checked our class and far out, our globe is missing. So then put 2 and 2 together, ended up, I think, I don't know, maybe ended up owning up to it. But then to further on explain that it was a coincidence that he didn't actually blow up the globe in the change rooms. It was just, taken. And yeah, just one of the all-time great coincidences. Me and Josh got off scot-free. We were in no way, shape or form involved. Keegs was the one who took most of the blame. I think Josh actually may have got called in as well. I'm not too sure. But the head of, humanities or whatever, I think came and just gave him an absolute grilling, apparently. And yeah, our teacher was honestly like, you know what, mate, I don't really care if you take the globe or not, but probably just return it just in case. So yeah, that's really it. Another one of the great stories coming out of Belridge Secondary College. And yeah, a lot of that happens in terms of, stuff being blown up and yeah, stuff
True.
like that. It's just a regular day, really.
Yeah, I hope Keys keeps prompting you to tell a lot of these school stories, because plenty was happening clearly with you and your mates in the school days.
It's literally only in that class too. I can understand why it's not running anymore, because I think we've ruined it for everyone.
Well, you can't have a geography class without a world globe.
No, you can't.
It's been blown up. So now, hearing a familiar name again, Smiley met him.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, can I read this one so you can read the next 2 long ones?
Absolutely, you can.
Beautiful.
So I actually saw Smiley on this night in Leaderville. So look, I can verify that he was in quite the state. He can verify that I was in quite the state. And yeah, take us through what happened after he left.
All right. So this one from Smiley. On Saturday night, I was rorted after a big night in Leaderville. One of our mates was able to pick us up and give us a lift home. I live close to one of my other mates, so I said I can just get out and walk the rest of the way. You always love a walk after a night
Blokes
out.
and their walks.
Blokes and their walks home. It gives
Something
you a bit of...
it.
Yeah, there's just something in the air. Something about it. It's just very nice.
And in the water in the Swan River.
And in the water as well. Oh. So after a couple minutes of walking, I noticed a car creeping up slowly behind me and followed me. In my intoxicated state, I genuinely panicked and was convinced that I was about to get kidnapped and murdered. Fair enough. That's always your first thought, isn't it? In response, I started doing everything I could to lose the car, hiding behind trees and jumping into bushes while messaging people telling them I was in danger. I finally lost them and had time to reassess the situation. When I realized the car that had been following me was my mate's car I had just gotten out of. They were just making sure I was okay and reaching home safely. Crisis averted. So they're probably sitting in the car going, what the fuck is he doing?
That was the thing that got me. Was I was just imagining him, like literally just genuinely panicking, running away, jumping behind trees and bushes, and his mate's just in the car.
That's honestly, I didn't know where that was going, but that's so funny. That's honestly.
I mean, how much in a state must you be to get out of your mate's car? 2 minutes later, this same car is following you, and you haven't realised it's the car you just got out of. So, look, I'm glad that he was safe in the end, but yeah, look.
He's probably messaging them in the car going, boys, I'm in danger, the car's following me.
Alrighty, we've got a long one here. He's asked to be named. So Liam McClement has wound back the clock to April the 2nd. He says, I'm in Melbourne on my own for the footy. I'm on all the dating apps because why the fuck not? I'm alone, let's explore. This girl we will call Belle matched with me on Hinge. One thing leads to another, and I've been asked to meet her at a club after the footy. After a great start to the evening, the footy was great. I'm already tipsy, which to be fair doesn't take much. After a 30-minute walk and working out where this club was, I arrive at the club, and holy fuck, I must say, this was the last night that it was open. Thank fuck for that. It was a shithole. For context, this was like half the size of Bar1, but it's full. Not like Bar1 though, because Bar1's not a shithole. It's one of the...
Bar1 would be so much better.
It would be.
100%.
So, he's come from the footy. He's at the club now. He's looking for this girl who has invited him to the club. I go to look for Belle and her mate, who I didn't realise at this moment was third wheeling me and Belle. I do the very gentleman thing and get her a drink. Long story short, one thing led to another, and it was me and Belle on the D floor making out. It was great. The night progressed, and given how many vodka lemonades I was running off from the footy, I asked, why can't we just take this to the hotel and go from there? She said yes, and I thought, fuck yeah, here we go. Awesome, he's on.
Great stuff.
Not long after she's grabbed me and pulled me towards the toilets, where she says, hold on, I'll be right back. A few minutes pass, haven't heard from her. Then 10 minutes, and then 20 minutes roll by. At this moment, I'm wondering what the fuck I'm doing. It's 2 a.m. on a Sunday. I look extremely antisocial being on my phone alone outside the toilets. Waiting for this bird to reappear felt like a lifetime. She eventually comes out with her mate saying she is not well. I have to take her home. I'm like, yep, cool, no worries. Better your mate not yakking at this shithole. We're waiting outside for their Uber. I say bye to Belle and old mate. As they've left, I've had the bright idea of walking back to my hotel. Walks in their walks. For context, I had walked about 40 kilometres already that day. I've got home, I've sat on the couch with a Powerade and some Maccas alone. We kept messaging, not mentioning her friend being sick. Even after I asked her if she was feeling okay, I got a question mark in response. We did talk for a few months after that before she sent me a snap of her with her boyfriend in bed together. That's a real heartbreaker.
Wow.
You got to feel for the bloke. Look, I wouldn't say either of these people, him or her, are necessarily in the wrong, but I think the communication could have been more open.
100%. 100%. There's a lot going on there. And so what? Kept messaging, not mentioning the friend, and after I asked she was feeling better, got a question mark in response.
That's a bit cold.
Yeah. Okay, there's...
So it just makes you think, was the friend really sick? Was it a spur of the moment? Or actually, I don't want to do this?
There's definitely a more in detail.
The 10 to 20 minutes in the toilet is quite an extended time. And then, especially because she knows that he's waiting for her. He is in not a foreign city to him. He's from Perth. He's in Melbourne, in a club he's never been before, in a city he's not really been to before. And he's kind of relying on her at this point.
100%.
So, look, it's up to her what she wanted to do from that point. So she's more than valid to say, oh, look, whether she's feeling well or not, doesn't matter. If she wanted to go home, then that's fine. I think the communication could have been clearer.
Yeah, 100%.
And more fast-tracked.
100%. Just to give old mate Limo a bit of like clarity, not leaving him on the edge, because you're probably, you know, feeling a bit sick in the stomach. You're like, oh, did I do something wrong? Blah 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 blah. You're thinking all these things, and it's just, yeah, a bit of communication could have left all of that out. But Ripper story, and it was very well written as well, which we love to see.
I found that just so flowingly to read. The grammar was immaculate. So thank you for that, Liam.
Fantastic.
I'm on this one again. It's quite a long one.
If it's more than a couple sentences, you got it, mate.
An anonymous email. So, and again there, emails at thesundaydebrief@gmail.com is a wonderful way to contact us. Me and my mate had found an open party to go to, so we decided we'd go to it even though we didn't know a single person going. Unfortunately, the bloke who had set up the open invite didn't send us the address to this place, so we couldn't go. Instead, we decided to go have a couple of shots and take my mate's parents' cruises and go for a little wander around the neighbourhood. We walked around the suburb for over 2 hours. She lives down the road from the school we attend. She's put a little note in here, which I'm not going to say for their purpose because I know of them and I believe that they would actually still be at the school and I don't want them to get in trouble for this.
Fair enough.
But I acknowledge the little note that they put there. Anyway, we drunkenly decided it would be a great idea to try and get into the buildings by attempting to open every single building, door and window. When I say we tried every single window and door, I mean it. We walked to all of the high school buildings and the primary ones, I think is what you might be saying here. Yet we had no luck, unfortunately. Due to drinking a tad bit much, we both needed to go for a piss desperately, so we decided to pop a squat and pissed on the grass, and ourselves by accident. And that's honestly a highlight of ours. Gives us a good laugh when we see people laying on the grass there. Anyway, we had no luck on getting into any of the buildings, so we walked to the Macca's next door and had a feast. On the way back to hers, we walked back through the school, and turns out there is actually a caretaker that lives on the school grounds, along with silent alarms and cameras that we tried to get into. Unbeknownst to us, like you didn't have to read that one.
Yeah, thank God. I'll be stuck there for a while.
Unbeknownst to us, the caretaker had called security to the school, and we ended up getting chased by the caretaker and the other security guards until we run into someone's bushes in front of their house and hide in there until we call it safe to make an escape. We end up making it back to hers without being caught, thankfully. All in all, it was a successful escape and we never got caught. Safe to say we won't be doing that one again. Love your podcast, boys. I hope you goes well in the future. Thank you very much. We appreciate that little message at the end. We appreciate the email and the story. That is a cracking story.
That's a good one. I know. I think it just is something that maybe we've not all done, but like go on to, a school or like a primary school and just like, hung out there or try.
I hope you're not hanging out at primary school.
No, no. Taking that out of context, please do not clip me on that. But yes, after hours, obviously.
And, that's fine.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay. Yeah, but good. Story and
I know a few people have gone back to our old school and just given a little tour. And then, they see the alarms going off, they see the security driving around and then make a great escape. And look, personally, I actually haven't tried it yet, but I'd imagine it'd be quite the thrill running away.
Oh, 100%. 100% would give you quite the thrill and fight or flight, really. And then you sort of think to yourself, what am I doing? What am I doing? But
why am I back in my old school?
Why am I back in my own school? I finally got away from this joint. Now I'm back here for fun purposes. So, yeah, but anyways, love the story, and thanks for the little comment at the end. We do appreciate that very much.
As we say every week, probably one of the best times of the potty.
Oh, 100%. The voice messages is, the best thing to come about from the Sunday Debrief, isn't it? It's very, very good, and we're looking forward to, because the viewers can see it, especially if it's a video as well, but the voice messages give you, your heart, and you don't get people like me with dyslexia reading it, so... if you just want to speak for yourself, send a voice message.
The other factor to this one is that we're going to have to work on a better system for anonymity. So if we set up a system where you can send voice messages in without having any name attached to it, then people might be more willing. Same goes for stories, to be fair. We're going to be working on that because a lot of people saying they want to send stuff in, but they're like, I don't even want you guys to know who it is. Never mind.
Fair enough, okay.
We're working on that. All right, first one.
Again, burner accounts. I mean, don't comment on my stuff as per usual, but feel free to comment in here and send your voice voice messages in. Here we go again, dyslexia, and we'll get started.
Alrighty, Sahib Sandhu sounds like he wants to have a little rage about driving.
Can someone fucking explain to me why I'm going 95 kilometers an hour in the top lane of the Kwinana freeway with a fucking horse trailer in front of me? A fucking horse trailer. Get the fuck out the top lane.
Spoken very eloquently, and I think he's right.
I think he's 100% right. I mean, there's no, given law about this, but if you're in the far lane on the freeway and the speed limit's 100, you have to be going at least 120. And that's just like that. Like there's been times I've been in that lane and I've probably been going 125, 130, and then there's a big 2023 Hilux behind me with its high beams on, flashing me, and I'm literally going 130 on the freeway. Even in that bloody 80 zone. There's high standards that right lane is specific only to four-wheel drives and people with Rams and stuff like that who can dominate over your Nissan X-Trails, for example. But
I think a horse trailer is a little bit overkill. Sure, it would dominate, but it can't drive fast enough.
No, definitely not. It's this wrong field of work, the old horse trailer.
So, yeah, honestly, Sahib does struggle with his road rage at the best of times, but honestly, on this one, I think he's hit the nail on the head. If you're driving in the right lane, you must be going considerably over the speed limit.
100%.
And speed limits are just guidelines at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They're not legally binding.
Yeah, 100%. Unless unless you're on your ways and you see the cameras coming up, and then that's when you go the speed limit.
Then it becomes a legal issue because you might get caught.
Yeah.
Until you get caught, it's a guideline.
Yeah, but then straight after that, you can go straight back up.
Done.
Yeah, 100%.
Alrighty, next one comes from a great friend of the show, Tegan, who sent us some questions last week. Now, she sent a question about our pre-game beverages.
Yep.
She wasn't happy about the way we responded to it, so she said that she has made a little voicemail responding to this.
Roden Fitzgerald, I just need to give you some abuse right now because
I'm
21 minutes and 55 seconds into episode 2 of the Sunday Debrief.
Thanks for listening.
And you shit on me for saying drinks for the pre-game. But do you not realise that pre's, before we go out, you know how we all call it pre's, that actually is short for pre-game? So I was just having the correct English and saying
she's an idiot.
Drinks for the pre-game.
It's so obvious that
fuck off.
You would have thought football.
Drinks for the pre-game because pre-game just means pre's.
That sounds more
so
like football.
I suggest you update your vocabulary accordingly because now I just got abused on the podcast for being right.
Okay, Professor Vocabulary.
Okay, I am already liking the bloke who was in
yes,
the voice message.
You're hearing Mitchell in the background.
Oh, fantastic.
Her great
Mitchell.
boyfriend, who clearly is on the same wavelength as us. Look, firstly, I'm going to categorically deny giving her shit for it. I don't think we did.
No, not at all.
I think we just wanted to gain some clarity over what she was saying. So instead of just answering one way or the other, we included both answers to accommodate for what she really wanted to find out. When you say pre-game, that can be vague, right?
It can literally be anything. It could be, again, footy, as we first came. Any sport, a game. You know, this is before the game. Are we calling pre's? You know, I mean, you do associate, but that is not short for anything. It's just, you know, I don't think there's a longer word to. I mean, it's pre-drinks, isn't it?
Well,
pre-game.
You would think Miss Vocab here would know that pre is just like a general prefix. So you get preview, so it's something about before. So pre's is just an extension of the prefix pre.
Yeah, 100%. So it can be literally anything. What did they say? Drinks was what she was referring to?
She pre-game. Was referring to drinks, that's right. So she expected us to know she was talking about pre-game drinks, which we did end up covering.
We did. Once again.
But as you say, pre-game anything, pre-game what?
I mean, you can do anything before a pre-game. We said before, there's the type of drinks. You have your Gatorade, your electrolytes, your waters. You have your drinks, your alcoholic drinks after the game. Whatever type of game, you can do like physical things before a game. You can go for a walk before a game. I have a mate who likes to have a pre-game, masturbation session. I mean, each to their own. So, I mean, we need a bit more context. Otherwise, there's a billion different ideas
Absolutely.
who can go through their head. So, yeah 100%.
Each to their own. Maybe she was talking about, what do you want to do pre-game? The pre-game wank, that's a controversial one. And it also
is.
depends on whether she's talking about before a footy game or before going out, etc. If it's before a footy game, it's probably not on because you want your testosterone flowing, right?
No, not on at all. And it's, there's been theories and tests on this for many years now. I know, yeah, some of my mates have tested this theory in full like detail and yet to come up with a conclusion. It has a bit of mixed, answers. So I mean, yeah, pre's, long story short, can mean anything. A bit more context and then the questions would be nice.
Again, if you to go and if she's referring to pre-drinks, then you probably don't want the pre-game wank, do you? Because you don't want to cut yourself. You don't want to sell yourself short at the end of the night. So sometimes it's handy to prepare yourself. So just needs to be a little bit clearer in future. Thanks, Tegan.
100%.
Okay, I believe we've got one more from Sahib again. He literally just sent this through about 5 minutes before we started recording. And sounds like he was trying to cover his tracks a little bit after some things that he said in the past on this podcast.
Would just like to add some clarification that I'm not gay. I don't like blokes sniffing my armpits.
Okay, short and sweat.
Just a nice statement going on there.
Yep, made his point clear. So last week, if you haven't tuned in, one, why the fuck not? Two, Sahib said that at Listen Out, a bloke sniffed his armpits, and then he kind of liked it and allowed it. Now he's saying...
And now he's just condescending himself, really. Yes. I mean, stick with one view or the other, Sahib. You can't be saying one thing and then once it gets called out, then saying another. So.
Exactly right. So, you can't... And as we say, drunk thoughts are just sober feelings kind of thing. Like, you're just more likely to spread them. So if he was sourced when he sent that in, which is likely, he can't use as an excuse, really, for what he's saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably what he was thinking when he was sober and wasn't confident enough to say it. So, look, mate, we have no problems with you liking bloke sniffing armpits. Just be a little bit more open with yourself.
Just embrace it. If you do like it. No hiding behind a screen, hiding behind a message. Yeah.
Alrighty, mate. Probably my favourite time of the potty. Well, I can say that about every segment every week, don't we? Look, we're about an hour 15 in already, but we're hitting the quick fire questions.
Oh boy, we'll make these quick. They're quick fire questions for a reason.
They are, so we better answer them quickly. But look, if you don't know how it works, we stuck a story on the Instagram probably about 2 or 3 hours ago before we were recording. While we're having our pre-game coffee. Pre-game potty drinks at where were we? The rowing pavilion. In Mount Pleasant, right on the river. Good. We were changing things up from the regular Dome Mullaloo.
Rate it.
Jeez, it was lovely, wasn't it?
Out of 10 venue, like everything considered.
Overs and unders.
Overs and unders. We'll set the bar at probably 6.5.
6.5. Paying $1.90. I'd go overs.
Yeah, I'd go over too.
Sure. All right. Looks like we've got some good ones. So yeah, send them in, and we don't have a look at them until now. First one here, short and sweet. Reese Smuller says, "How good's Bar1?"
How good's Bar1? Is that even a question? It's probably one of the best things to ever exist, to be quite honest with you. And it has provided us with an immaculate opportunity to share people's stories and our stories and just bring, the whole of the Sunday Debrief and the Bar1 community all into one. So we love Bar1.
Bar1, if it was rated out of 10, overs and unders 9.5. Overs is still paying $1.02.
Yeah, you're not getting much back at all, but it's a guaranteed, isn't it?
Yeah. Looks like this is a... Same person. He's
Next.
put a double in.
One at all. Fitzy absent from flag hunting this year.
Why am I absent from flag hunting? Oh, yeah. No, he's referring to playing cricket, I believe. That's what I'm going to guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look, mate. We've talked about cricket on this podcast plenty. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, I just don't... I hear Ruggsy's distress about the sport. I hear what he's copping. I hear that on a Saturday he doesn't even want to go out because he's only scored 3.5 runs and blokes are letting him know about it. And I know my limits, I know my abilities, and I know that I wouldn't be performing any better than Regis, and therefore I'm going to save myself. Maybe I'll join later in the year, mate. But at this point, I don't think I will be attending.
Fair enough. It's a decision for your mental health.
It is.
That one. Yeah.
It's a self-care
100%.
routine. Okay, Sahib Sandhu, cracking question here. Favourite type of citrus?
Favorite type of citrus.
Wow.
Okay, so what have you got there? Have you got?
Okay, I think we're talking lemons, limes, oranges. Does that count?
Yeah, I think oranges are a citrus, aren't they? Yeah.
To be honest, Saib, I'm not an expert in the citrus field, so that's about as much as
Neither.
I can name.
Yeah, I think that might be it, to be quite honest, unless there's... No, that's all I have in my vocabulary for the old citrus. But favourite, in terms of eating, probably the orange. Probably the orange. In terms of in a alcoholic beverage, I'm honestly not the biggest fan of a lemon in a beer.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even like a Corona, like a nice summer beer?
I'm really not. No, not the biggest fan, no.
Okay.
No, not at all. But
What about like lemon flavoured mixes? A lemon, lime and bitters?
Yes, that's completely fine.
Yep.
But just the actual lemon itself. And I'm perfectly fine with a lime in a a pre-mixed drink or something like that.
Yep.
But
I agree.
yeah, that's sort of my rankings.
Yeah. Orange to eat, lemon and lime for accessories and or flavours. We'll go with that. All right. That's this one.
Yep. Let's do it. Okay. Lewis Williamson. I fell back first into the barley cum-coloured foot and mouth disease infested gutter ways will I die. Okay, so why do I always get the poorly written questions? That's honestly a stitch up here. I'll read that again. I fell back first into the barley cum-coloured foot and mouth disease infested gutter ways. Will I die? By the sounds of it, yeah, probably. I don't really have a lot of clarity on that situation. I could hardly read that sentence, but I'm gonna guess, yeah, you're probably overs on dying.
Yeah, no expert on barley's public systems, but not ideal, mate. I'd probably get out of there as good as possible. Okay. Familiar name, Ella Taylor.
Oh, yeah, very
She's got
familiar.
an overs and unders today.
Yep. Oh, brilliant.
Would you rather be over or under the word count for a uni assignment?
Yeah, this was a fascinating one. There was a bit of chat about this previously, and we both had different opinions, to be honest. She, for her course of primary education, she is more over the word count for her assignments, and she actually struggles to get under the word count, where I think in the journalism realm, I'm quite the opposite. I'm usually under the word count and try to get to the word count.
Short and sharp. Yeah.
Yep. So to answer the question, I honestly think it would be better to be over the word count. But apparently, once it reaches the word count, they stop reading.
Wow. Including they would read plus 10% though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, look, it's probably better in the end to be over. You get more detail in there. But when you're writing it, all you want to do is hit the lowest possible word count. So I tend to be under.
Yeah, I tend to be under too.
Nick Vlahov has provided us with 4 jokes. Now, Nick's known for his jokes. They're often a bit more on the...
Are they?
They're readable.
They're readable
fine.
to the audience.
Usually
Nick's
Nick's jokes aren't. So, look, I might just quick fire these at you.
Yeah, go for it.
How do you count cows with a calculator? Shut the fuck up. Why do cows have hooves? Because they lack toes.
That one's better.
What do you get from a dwarfed cow? Condensed milk. And the last one.
These are all about cows.
Controversial. What's the difference between £1 and $1? I don't dollar your mum.
They got better as it went on there. Some of those were actually pretty decent, and we maybe that should be. It sounds like Nick has a lot in the bank there in terms of messages. So not messages, sorry, in terms of jokes. So maybe that has to be a weekly joke of the week or something like that. Little segment going on there because at least you got better with time, Nick. But yeah, some of them were actually not the worst I've heard.
Of course he's piped up.
And he's back again. He said he's having a quiet week, but yet he appears in the Sunday Debrief for the 3rd time this episode. Worst Riz line you've ever said to a chick, from Ryan Hammond. Well, my worst Riz line actually, I think, was the reason why I'm now in a relationship with my current girlfriend. It was at the bit of context. It was at levers in the line. You know, you're there for hours upon hours, and your mind starts to get a bit loopy. You know what I'm doing, and I'm just bored in the line. Group of our mates and a group of people in front of us, where Ella, my current partner, was with, and you're gonna get to know them a little bit when you're there for 5+ hours in a line, and out of the blue, I've just randomly gone, and I can do a video demonstration as well and see what other people think of this as well. I've gone, sort of not to anyone, but to myself. But it was sort of a thinking out loud moment, sort of here. And I've gone like this. I've pulled my arm up and I've pulled down this thing right here, and I've gone, "How big is my weenus?" And then I think I've said that a bit too loud, and it gets repeated around the group. Like, Rugsy, what the fuck did you just say? And I'm like, "Oh, nothing. What do you mean?" The group heard it in front of us. They've turned around and they're like, "What? Like, we have to see this weenus of yours if you're saying it's that big." You know what I mean? And ultimately, I think that was the real, that really brought. I shot Ella with a love arrow there, and she's just gone, "Wow, that is the man I want to be with." So I think my worst Riz line has become my best.
That's outstanding. Look, sometimes that's what it's like. Shit gets wickets, right?
100%.
So you reckoned it was one of your worst lines, and it's worked out perfectly for you. Yeah. So was she just impressed by your weenus in the end? Is that what happened?
I think so. At least there's one weenus to be impressed with.
Yeah.
On my body. So
I mean, from this angle, I don't know. I'd give it maybe a 1.2 inches. So it does take the.
It takes the reins on the other one, definitely.
Yeah, great. Jay, a bit of a toughie. You know what? I'll give you two. One of them, the worst online, was probably the one I read out about an hour ago. Probably the one where I went. You know what we want. You want me. I want me. Wish I could voice Messiger, Kilo, saw Taran.
The intentions were there though. It was just the execution wasn't there so much. So it's not the worst. You've studied for the test, but you've just had a mind blank when it came to delivering.
Yeah. And
so you've just failed, but you did probably, you could have done some things better, but there's a result you could be expected with.
And I mean, some of those TikTok Tinder Riz videos about the cricket and about the footy, some would say they were shit. I think they were quite good.
Oh, they were fantastic.
I mean, in the midst of the whole orange tsunami of GWS, to say "here comes my giant," I think that's quite good. But look, probably the worst one in person was not even close to trying to be a Riz line. I was in the vault. I came across someone who I knew of, had never met before, but we knew of each other. And it's like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And then, one thing leads to another. So we were just enjoying each other's company in the vault.
Yep.
And then I notice one of my mates, not one of my closer mates, but close enough. And I've said, "Oh, hey, mate." And I've said to this girl, "Oh, do you know him?" Not aware that he's her ex-boyfriend. To which she didn't really respond, and then didn't really see her for the rest of the night. Actually, if I'd known that information prior, obviously I wouldn't have even gone there because
100%.
He's as I say, he's close enough to.
Yeah, I mean, once again, one of the great coincidences that have just unfortunately taken place, and there's not much you can do about it.
Not much you can do, but it is one of the as you say, it's a coincidence. But look, a little bit embarrassing at the time because how has that happened? So very negative Riz there. But we'll move on from that.
We'll move on. Thanks, Ryan. Actually, good question there from you. So this one is from Shannon. What do you say to people in the shops asking you to donate to charities?
Depends how much they're asking for, mate.
Yeah, and it's a hard one. So it's like, depends what the charity's for as well. Like you got, and it also like depends, if they, so are they saying, all right. So there's two different terms that come with this. There's the people who are actually set up on like a table.
Yes.
And they have like the the jugs or whatnot with the little money slit in them, and then they're probably right next to the door. So when you walk out or walk into the shopping center, they're like, "Hey, do you want to donate?" Blah blah blah. Or you get the people at the register who are like, "Oh, do you want to donate so and so?"
And they might just round up.
Yeah,
they might round up to your value, or they might go +2, +$5 kind of thing.
Yeah, and what do you say? I mean, again, depends what it is. I mean, if it's depends what you get as well. This was a couple of years ago now. The store, what's that store called? Connor.
Yes.
I was there and they had an Are You OK Day like donation thing, and it's since passed away. The object I got, it was one of the little put on the back of your phone to keep all your cards in there. I've got a new one now because, as some people say, I would forget my head if it wasn't screwed on. So I need everything in one place, and donated however amount I wanted, and I got one of the sticky phone cases on the back, and I was like, you know what, good cause. I get something out of it as well, and donated however much I donated. So it was good. It was good in the end.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think if they're asking to round up, like if they just want a couple, I'll click yes. And if I'm walking past the things, if I have cash in my pocket, stick it in there. I think, But if you don't want to, because Shannon might be wondering, how do I approach it if I want to say no? We're not assuming that, but if that's what he wants an answer to, I think you just got to be like, oh, look, really, really tight at the moment. Next time, maybe next time.
Yeah,
You got to be respectful about
or
it.
even just like, oh, not today, thanks, something like that. Maybe you actually don't have any money considering the inflation we talked about before. So you can only give so much.
I could give you 21 extra cents if Spudshed hadn't put up the protein shakes by that much. So
that's it.
Caleb Gray, just had a quick look at this one. I take issue with the way he's worded this. He says, what day of the week is the best day to start drinking, which would infer that there's ever a day to stop. What do you mean start? Like, just keep going.
It's a never-ending cycle, isn't it? I mean, if he means what's the best day to, I mean, it starts, I mean, it depends what you have on your weekend, really. I mean, you can start on, it also depends what you do in life, really. Like, I mean, if you've had a long day's work, I mean, fair enough, especially if you're working a trade, it's not uncommon to see people, probably should go check on them, they probably died, but not uncommon to see people that are having, a couple of beers after work or whatnot. But I mean, it just all depends.
Or if you don't have a real job like us, we could just start at 11 a.m. on the Monday.
Yeah, or we could be
Aaron said earlier.
Drinking right now. Never know.
Yeah, we probably should be.
Yeah, probably should be.
So, look, there's never a bad day to start, mate.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
look,
never a bad
whenever
day.
you want to, Caleb, whenever it feels right. Jackson Sharp. Oh, he knows why he's asking this. This might be.
Does he know the answer to his question already?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay.
Any experiences with ED, meaning any experiences with erectile dysfunction? I'll throw that one to you first, mate. Just a yes or no.
Oh,
yes or no.
Did you need to think of your answer?
Well, yeah, quite possibly.
Oh, okay. So erectile dysfunction. So this is when, just so I get my definitions right. This is when you can't get up.
Yes, that's right.
So not okay. Yep. I mean, yeah. Being honest, yeah.
Happens to everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. Like it's one of those things, especially when it's all about acceptance and communication as well. Because I mean, especially when you're with a girl, they don't know. They might not know. They might think it's something wrong with them, or saying there's something wrong with yourself. But then it's sort of like, oh yeah, it happens to everyone. It's like, oh, how do you know that? Whatever. But I think it needs to be a more open experience because these things happen, and I think they just need to be. It needs to be a more. I wouldn't say there needs to be a reason for why it happens, but I just think if people, including men and women, have a bit of context, so if it happens to a bloke, they're not feeling as bad that there's something wrong with them, have to get checked out or whatever. But just a bit of clarity. You might need a bit of doctor assistance on this one. But, I mean, to answer your question, yes.
Yeah. I think the answer would have to be yes for everyone. Yeah, look, I hate that my family listen to this, so I'm not going to get into detail today. I think probably one of the stories with this can be extended on a different episode when we're not already an hour and a half in. So Jackson, yes, of course, but I wouldn't say without artificial stimulation in terms of just had too many like vodka Red Bulls and then you get what they refer to as whiskey dick. So, yeah. And to be fair, if you've had numerous vodka Red Bulls, or if you know people were looking for extra stimulation, maybe Dexies to keep themselves awake. Dexy dick also a very common issue. Then it can be a tough one. So yeah, nothing to be embarrassed about, lads. This might be the last one.
Last but not least, we have. Oh my gosh, this is just setting us up, isn't it? Favorite club for a night out. I mean, there's only
silly question.
I mean, we've mentioned this club company a bunch of times already this episode, and it is the one and only Bar1 nightclub.
Has
of course.
to be.
I mean, they're just doing everything possible to bring people in and just create a nice, night out experience for everyone.
It just is where you want to be, and we can't wait for what the Sunday debrief will bring for Bar1, what Bar1 can bring for the Sunday debrief. I'll just refresh this one more time to make sure we got no late entries. Looks like that's us for the quickfire questions. Thank you always for sending them in. They always become a great hit, don't they?
They're very good.
So before we wrap up, just quickly a few things of what's to come. A few people have suggested a few extra segments. I mean, when the app's going for an hour and a half, maybe we don't need to.
We'll be here all bloody day.
We will be. But yeah, a few of what's coming up. Looking for a few more segments. A little bit of mate of the week / flog of the week, whichever way we want to go with that.
Might put a poll up and see. Yeah, see what people think.
That'll be directed at people sending in what their mates have done, either good or bad, depending on which way we go for. And yeah, keen for that. The other one, overs and unders. We've talked about overs and unders a lot, so we're working on that one.
Like an example would be how many runs am I going to score on the weekend?
Overs or unders, 2.5.
2.5. Like that is a great line, and one of the great sports bet lines that where you're not sure, you're looking at previous stats from the ground, how the form's going. Could be about that, and could literally be about anything at all.
So essentially, we will probably be asking the audience to send in. We need a number value with something that might be a bit of a 50-50, something that they can't decide on, and give us an over or unders, and we'll decide whether the numerical value.
Oh, I got a good one actually.
Go on.
Over or under drinks to get you drunk.
What are we basing the overs and unders at?
The number?
Yeah.
Well, again, that is hard because I think I've stitched myself up because it depends what it is as well. Are we saying? Should we say
beers?
Beers. Okay. Over or under?
Pints or bottles?
Bottles. We'll go bottles.
/ cans.
Over or under? Drunk again. 6.5.
I'll go overs.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a tipping point, and then it just goes downhill from there.
There's lots of variables there.
Yeah.
There's lots of variables.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we're working on. We'll provide a little more clarity over that. As we've already talked about, Bar1, so much happening there. We're super excited for. And the last one, look, we've just ordered some stickers. So, first bout of merch coming out. So we're going to
around the merch.
We'll be ordering plenty of kind of laptop stickers, bumper stickers, which we'll be gladly distributing amongst the community.
And when those come about, happily stick them up anywhere you like, whether that's on your laptop or just anywhere around the streets of Perth, or even overseas if you're there and you want to bring the stickers there, and send us a photo on Instagram and we'll repost that and we'll see how many stickers can float around Perth.
Great, cool. Alrighty, if you're still listening, then you're an absolute hero. You're an absolute legend. Now we're in 35 or something, wherever we're at. And I think that brings us to the end of episode 3 of the Sunday Debrief podcast. It's been awesome as always, mate. Great fun.
It's been really good. Honestly, thought this episode wouldn't go for as long in terms of, content we've been given, but it's actually been quite a bit because we did ramble on. Well, not ramble. I mean, it's good content. We're not...
Every word has weight and importance to it, so...
100%. So hopefully, everyone's ears are being filled with just,
Joy.
Joy and roses and rainbows and everything that is nice to go into a set of ears.
That's the way, mate. All right, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. Keep sending your stuff in.